The first week of Sean Diddy Combs' federal trial was just the start. The world watched as a strong music mogul went from rumor to reality, from Cassie Ventura's dramatic testimony to Kevin Hart's shocking moment in court. But what's coming next is even worse. Now, the trial isn't just about what Diddy did. It's also about who knew about it, who didn't say anything, and who might be next. From Kid Cudi to Kanye West. The list of famous people who have been called in court is getting longer every day. Britney Spears, Prince, and even Diddy's own sons are on the list. As week two approaches, federal investigators, prosecutors, and courtroom insiders are indicating that the most stunning names haven't even been exposed yet. This trial has officially gotten bigger. This isn't only a big deal, it's the end of an empire. The first week of the Diddy trial left the courtroom on fire. At the center was Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend and an artist who was testifying about over 8 years of torture, manipulation, and mental control. She talked about a world of great affluence that hid a dark side where sex parties were held. Using drugs and aggressive control weren't exceptional events. They were everyday things. Cassie's testimony was quite bad. She talked about being drugged, being recorded without her permission, and being forced to have sex with strangers. Diddy saw her construct a picture of a man who wasn't just tyrannical in private. He used his fame and money to completely isolate and control her. The court listened as she talked about times when he hit her, such the night he supposedly followed her down a hotel hallway, which was caught on hotel security cameras and has since become famous. Then Kevin Hart showed up out of the blue and ready to back up Cassie's assertions. What he said was strong. He informed the jurors that we laughed in rooms we should have escaped from, because silence is the money that keeps the strong, safe people thought it was a tipping point. Until Diddy's lawyers started looking at Kevin and showing him texts, party videos, and a story that made it hard to believe how much he knew and when. Still, something deeper was going on. Along with these testimony, names began to appear in the record. These names had nothing to do with criminal accusations, but everything to do with being close by. Kanye West, Britney Spears, Prince Michael B. Jordan. These weren't just random references. Both the prosecution and the defense put them in the court record on purpose. It quickly became evident that this wasn't simply about one man's crimes. It was about a system that was made for him, a system full with stars, stillness, and secrets. The number of those named in court is getting longer as we move into the second week. People are talking about subpoenas, people are writing depositions, and what started out as a trial for one man is quickly turning into a trial for a whole community. The court had a huge problem from the minute jury selection started. How do you get 12 people to agree that Sean Diddy Combs is a man who helped shape hip-hop in the 1990s and 2000s, started Bad Boy Records, worked with music superstars, and threw the most exclusive parties in the Hamptons and Beverly Hills? He wasn't only famous, he was a cultural designer. The jury questionnaire had conventional questions regarding bias, what they knew about the case, and what they thought about famous defendants. But how could a possible juror stay neutral when the case is about a man who has been in Super Bowl ads, started million-dollar fashion firms, and was once thought to be the king of New York nightlife? And now that the trial is going on, the need for fairness is even more important because the people being talked about in court are not just footnotes. They are well-known people. Kanye West, Britney Spears, Prince Michael B. Jordan, Michelle Williams, Bruce Willis. These people aren't only famous, they are cultural icons with a lot of power. And just saying their names in this courtroom has a lot of power. Look at Kanye, for instance. The jury was asked if they have strong feelings about him. Not because he's being accused of anything, but because he was in music with Diddy recently. The court needed to determine if a juror's opinion of why would affect their decision in a matter involving someone they support or look at. Prince Ventura talked about a once-in-a-lifetime chance to play at Prince's mansion. A moment of freedom, a moment Diddy is said to have tried to ruin. Of course, jurors aren't being asked to criticize Prince, but they are hearing his name in connection with envy, abuse, and possessive wrath. And when Diddy's lawyers casually brought up Bruce Willis and Eddie Murphy, the courtroom paid attention when there was a talk on co-parenting. It was part of an effort to make Cassie's actions seem like they were based on jealousy, But to the jurors, it was just another set of celebrity names thrown into an already combustible trial. The worry now isn't just whether the jury can stay fair about Diddy, it's whether they can stay focused at all as more and more famous people are brought into the story. Every time a new name is mentioned in court, the headlines follow. This means that the jury has to not only weigh testimony, but also separate it from the culture that made these people famous in the first place. Out of all the names that have been brought up in court so far, none have as much chaotic energy as Ye, who used to be known as Kanye West. Days after Diddy's arrest, Kanye released a song called Lonely Roads Still Go to Sunshine, which has a phone call between Combs and his son, Christian King Combs. The song didn't become popular because of how it was made. It got a lot of attention for what it said. Why would Kanye West put out a song featuring a recording of a conversation from prison exactly when Diddy's legal problems were starting? Was it a display of loyalty, a sign of support, or something more strategic? The timing made people raise their eyebrows. Some thought Kanye was trying to make Diddy more human, to remind people that behind the scandal was a father who was going through a spiritual hardship. Others said it was a smokescreen. Kanye has been here before. Behavior that caused a lot of trouble, followed by symbolic actions that were meant to manage the story in public. But it's not that simple. The jurors was questioned explicitly if they had any thoughts regarding Kanye West. That means the court recognized that his name, occupation, or connection to Diddy might become important. Not because Kanye is guilty of anything, but because he may change Diddy's life, how others see Diddy's actions. And this is where it gets even more complicated. Kanye and Diddy have known each other for a long time, both professionally and personally. They've been on the same stages, in the same studios, and in the same political fights. After Diddy's incarceration, Y hasn't backed off, he's leaned in. In the court of law, that's not a crime. But in the court of public opinion, it's fuel to the fire because Kanye West has just stepped into the shadows of this trial, whether he meant to or not. Now the world is watching to see what he does next, and whether his connection to Diddy will go from symbolic to significant. The courtroom changed when Cassie Ventura said that Diddy threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's automobile. It wasn't simply an emotional detail, it was a straight accusation of intimidation that sounded weird and almost like a movie in real life. Ventura says that when Diddy found out she was dating Kid Cudi, he didn't simply get angry, he made a specific threat of violence. He is believed to have said, "I'll blow that mother's car up." At first, it could have sounded like an over-the-top assertion made during a fight, but what happened next made it more believable. Kid Cud's automobile in February 2012 caught fire in his driveway for no apparent reason. People thought it was just a random accident when it happened. There were no charges and no police investigation that linked it to foul play. But when Cassie brought it up years later in sworn evidence, she may have been lying, and the event took on a dark tone. The people in the courtroom heard her talk about the paranoia that came after. She said she was scared for herself and the people she was with. The suggestion that Diddy's control went beyond just targeting people he saw as competition or a danger to his power. Kid Cud's name isn't just a casual mention anymore. He is now a critical witness to a deeper pattern of conduct and psychology. The question is whether he will testify. His testimony, even if it is given through a deposition, might be very important. He wasn't just a guy she dated. He was famous on his own. Diddy is said to have gone after him because of a romance. If this conduct is true, it aligns with other things Cassie has said: anger, obsession, and revenge. Cudi hasn't said anything about the trial in public, but lawyers warn he might not be able to do that for much longer. Venture's team is pushing for deeper investigations into past threats and possible acts of intimidation. Cudi may soon be asked to give his account. If he agrees with even part of what Cassie said, it won't just hurt Diddy's case, it will also open the door to possible criminal charges related to witness intimidation, threats, and even endangerment. What used to sound like a pointless narrative about a bad breakup is now being looked at in a different way. Legally, if the fire in Cody's driveway wasn't an accident, then it's not just smoke anymore. Evidence actors like Michael B. Jordan seem to be on the surface. It might seem strange to bring up Bruce Willis and Eddie Murphy in a trial about sex trafficking and abuse. But in the first week, All three were named in very different ways, but they all pointed to one thing: Diddy's huge network and the deep emotional relationships he had with each of them. Cassie and the famous people surrounding them. Cassie said that her short romance with actor Michael B. Jordan had led to another violent incident with Diddy. She added that Diddy found out through surveillance, which is another sign of how much control he held over her life. She said that the repercussions wasn't simply words, it was also physical. Another quarrel, another round of emotional warfare. The link to Michael B. Jordan isn't inherently bad from a legal point of view, but it does show a bigger issue. Cassie was frightened that Diddy would hurt her, but she was also afraid for the safety of anyone she tried to make a life with. She said that fear hindered her from speaking out sooner.